Folks, today's Monday, June 29, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Today, the Supreme Court issued significant rulings concerning executive power and voting rights. The justices blocked the twice-impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald the Con Trump from immediately firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, but permitted him to remove a Democrat from the Federal Trade Commission. Also, the court upheld a Mississippi mail-in voting law that allows ballots postmarked after Election Day, by Election Day, to be counted. In addition to that, E. Jean Carroll, she wins her suit against Trump. We'll explain with the Justice Correspondent Elis Mystal. In an unexpected political shakeup, a prominent conservative radio host in Georgia is endorsing Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff. Shelley Wynter will be here to explain. Black farmers in Mississippi are suing for being paid less than white South African guest workers brought to the country through the H-2A visa program. A lawyer in that case will tell us all about it. Plus, actress Garcelle Beauvais slams racist Megyn Kelly for her tirade against Haitian immigrants. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the fine. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
Big decisions came down today from the Supreme Court, one day before the end of the current term. In two decisions, the extreme court blocked the twice-impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald the Con Trump from immediately firing Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook, but backed his authority to fire a Democratic appointee to the Federal Trade Commission. In another decision, the court upheld a state law allowing mail-in ballots postmarked by Election Day to be received and still counted up to 5 business days later, a defeat for Trump and the GOP's efforts to curtail voting by mail. In addition to that, they refused to hear his case regarding the E. Jean Carroll. That means that he's got to pay up. The nation's justice correspondent, Elis Mystal, joins us right now. Ellie, glad to have you here. Lots to talk about, obviously. So let's get right into it. Ellie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Okay, let's see. Which one you want to talk about first?
Let's do the firing cases, because that's going to have a huge effect on how the government is allowed to function. In one case, the Supreme Court said that Trump can fire anybody working for an executive agency. So that, in this case, was the Federal Trade Commission, but that can include the Securities and Exchange Commission, that can include the EPA, OSHA, EEOC, name a federal agency. Trump can fire any single person who works at that agency, including leaders that were Senate confirmed. But there's one agency that skips that, the Trump's power, and that is the Federal Reserve Board. In the second case, they ruled that Trump could not fire Fed Commissioner Lisa Cook for no reason at all. He can still fire her for cause, but he can't fire her on a whim. So what's the difference? Why do we have one rule that covers all federal agencies except for the Fed? And the reason is money. Right? That's the only reason here. It's capitalism. The Fed protects the business investments of the billionaire class, of the Epstein class, and of the Republicans that currently control the Supreme Court. Legally, there is no distinction to be made between the Federal Reserve and the FTC. Roland, these two institutions were created by Congress 1 year apart. They were both created by Woodrow Wilson, the Fed in 1913 and the FTC in 1914. Both of these
isn't the Federal Reserve,
institutions-
but isn't the Federal Reserve supposed to be independent and the FTC is a part of the administration?
Well, see, that's the thing. All of these executive agencies are supposed to have some level of independence from the executive branch. That's why Congress creates these agencies. This isn't like the Department of the Interior or the Department of Commerce or what have you. These aren't directly in line cabinet positions that report directly to the president. These are agencies that Congress itself creates, like the EPA, like the FTC, and like the Fed. And so their leadership is supposed to be protected from at-will firing by the president. At least that's how they were supposed to be set up according to the law. But the Supreme Court has ignored that law and literally overturned a precedent that is over 90 years old, saying that these commissioners cannot be fired at the whim of the president and can only be fired for cause. John Roberts directly overturned that precedent this morning in giving Trump the ability to fire everybody except for the Fed.
Okay, so here's the issue. Is it just leadership, or are they saying that Donald Trump can fire any federal employee that he wants?
Everybody. Like it's Elon Musk with the chainsaw. They are now truly allowed to go through the entirety of the federal government, not just the executive branch, but now all of these independent organizations like the Consumer Protection Financial Bureau, again, like the SEC. And again, why do they want to do that? Well, it's because things like the FTC, the SEC, what these are there to do is regulate business. They're there to constrain smash and grab capitalism, right? That's why the billionaire class doesn't like them. You think they like having to file quarterly SEC reports? They don't. You think they like getting brought up on insider trading charges? They don't. And so when you cut these agencies out, what you do is unleash smash and grab capitalism. The Fed, on the other hand, that is protective of the billionaire class. That is protective of the U.S. and global economy. That is protective of the value of the dollar. And John Roberts is like, don't mess with my money. So it's literally a situation where if you are a consumer being hurt by these people, John Roberts doesn't have any time for you. But if you are a billionaire who needs the global economy to work the way it does, John Roberts has a lot of time for you.
Well, I said point blank, if a Democrat wins in 2028, inauguration day, I ain't even waiting. I'm like, all those Republican appointees, all y'all asses gone. And what it also means is that part of the reason the FEC has been a toothless tiger is because they did not, you typically would have 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and then you couldn't get anything done. Well, guess what? Tables have turned. You're now in a position to say, okay, fine, we're going to sit here and appoint, again, as if you have a Democratic president, we're going to appoint 5 nominees who are Democrat, and we're going to completely regulate. Listen, they hated Lena Khan, who was over the Federal Trade Commission. Mark Cuban was one of the folks who didn't want her reappointed if Kamala Harris won. And again, what this says is, okay, rules for y'all, rules for us.
Roland, I would love to agree with you, and I certainly think that's what the Democrats should do. But have you met the Democrats? Roland, you and I could not get Joe Biden to fire the post office guy. I mean, Joe Biden wouldn't fire Louis DeJoy, of all people. And now we think the next Democratic president is going to come in and actually use this new power maximally. I would love to believe that that was the case. But everything I know from the Democratic Party tells me that they are too weak. They are too candy-ass to actually use the power the Supreme Court has given Trump. To say nothing of the fact of a subtlety in the ruling, and this was from Neil Gorsuch in a concurrence, where he's basically saying that, yeah, this power swings both ways, but when the Democrats do it, we're just going to overturn the laws that these regulators pass, right? So it's a heads I win, tails you lose situation. If the Democrats come in and use their power maximally for the first time ever, I think Neil Gorsuch and the other Republicans will be waiting in the tall grass to knock down the regulations that those new people pass.
We'll certainly see if that happens. All right, this mail-in ballot lawsuit, the Republican National Committee, they really wanted this to be thrown out. And what was interesting is they were actually opposing Mississippi when it came to this. And so here you had, and that's a red state. And what they were trying to argue is they were trying to argue that the Constitution says that all voting must take place on Election Day, that if a ballot was postmarked by Election Day and it came in later, you can't count it. The extreme court said, nope, sorry, Republicans, it stands.
Yeah, this is actually a win for democracy, and one of the only ones we're going to get. 5-4, written by Amy Coney Barrett, of all people, with Barrett and Roberts joining the liberals. They said that Mississippi's law, which allows for the counting of ballots received up to 5 days after the election, that those ballots still must be counted. The case turned on this word election. The case turned on the word choice. The Congress is able to set, the federal government is able to set the date of Election Day, right? We all know it's the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. But what constitutes making that choice? And according to Amy Coney Barrett and the majority, the choice is made when you fill out your ballot. When the ballot gets received, whether it's on Election Day or a couple of days after Election Day, that doesn't mean that your choice happened after Election Day. You chose by Election Day. The fact that the government didn't get your choice until later, well, again, that seems like a problem with the post office. And where the Republicans who were opposed to this really got hung up on was the fact that we already do this for military ballots, right? We already do this for absentee military ballots. If you are a soldier serving overseas in Iran now, based in Germany, wherever, you make your choice by Election Day and then you send it, and then the government has, 5-10 days before the ballot gets there, before that ballot gets to be counted, right? So that's how it's supposed to work. That's how it works in Mississippi. And that 5-4 is what the Supreme Court upheld. In dissent, Sam Alito really got hung up on this word choice. And it's not surprising to me that the same guy who overturned Roe v. Wade couldn't understand what the word choice meant. But according to Alito, he thinks choice doesn't count until the government sees your choice, which is a ridiculous way of understanding the definition of that word. But Alito and Thomas and the other people who dissented, that's what they got hung up on. But they lost. And so Mississippi's law stands. Now, to be clear, Mississippi can change the law anytime that it wants. If Mississippi wants to say that your ballot has to be received by Mississippi by Election Day, Mississippi can change that law, and there's nothing that the Supreme Court would do to stop them from doing that. But as it stands now, states that want to allow ballots to be received some period after they've been mailed, after Election Day, the Supreme Court says that is perfectly constitutional. Barely.
And this, of course, was a major thing that Trump wanted to get thrown out because Republicans have been yelling, I don't understand, Election Day, you should know the winner that night.
Yeah, it's this weird thing where people, where Trump has trained his people to rely on instant gratification, right? They want to know the winner of the election right now. And the reason why they believe that is because, as we've consistently seen, mail-in voting tends to favor Democrats. That's not because of the nature of mail-in voting. That's because of the messaging that both parties give to their base voters, right? Republicans tell their voters, show up on Election Day, and so they all do. Democrats tell their voters, we're not going to just worry about Election Day. Show up early, vote by mail, vote in whatever way is easiest for you. That's the Democrats' line. And so it creates what Republicans call the red mirage, right? Where they seem to be winning early as the Election Day votes are counted. And then that lead gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you count all the votes. But my point to them is always, and I mean this truly in a nonpartisan way, we should want every vote counted if we're going to call ourselves a democracy. It's just good government to have people who want to vote, who are eligible to vote, who did vote, to have those votes counted. And if you vote before Election Day, that vote should be counted regardless of when it gets to the government in the mail, because when it gets to the government in the mail has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault if the post office is slow. It's not your fault if the post office can't get its act together. It's the government's fault. So the government should bear the burden of getting their chickens in a roost. And quite frankly, if you wanted to really get rid of the problem, have people be allowed to vote electronically. That'll be instantaneous, if that's really what you're asking. But of course, Republicans don't want to actually make it easier for people to vote. They want to make it easier to throw away the votes of legitimate voters.
E. Jean Carroll is smiling today.
Yes. So another loss for Trump, and I'm sure the ketchup bottles are flying around, is that the Supreme Court declined to hear his appeal in the E. Jean Carroll settlement, which means there are no more appeals. Pay that woman her money is the answer now. The Supreme Court, and I'm not surprised the Supreme Court didn't weigh in. The Supreme Court rarely weighs in on settlements like this, even though Trump huffed and puffed and threatened to blow a house down. It's not surprising that the Supreme Court didn't want anything to do with this.
So now he has to pony up that $5 million. And anytime he trashes her again, her lawyers say, we're going back and hitting you up for more money.
I think he'll find some way not to pay. I don't know how legally he's supposed to pay, but one thing I've learned about Trump is that anytime he's accountable for anything, he seems to slip out of it. So I'm sure he'll probably pay her off in like Trump steaks or something. But yes, technically he is now on the hook for $5 million to that woman who he dragged through the mud, who he defamed, and who he adjudicatedly sexually assaulted.
All right, Elis Mystal. Tomorrow's last day.
Tomorrow.
No, and there's the one case that we're all waiting on. You know what that one is?
Two huge cases. There are two huge cases coming tomorrow. Well, three huge cases coming tomorrow. One is about trans rights, and I think the court is going to be very harsh towards trans people in that case. Another is about campaign finance. I think the court is going to make it a lot easier for dark money to get into our electoral system. And then obviously the third case is birthright citizenship. We will see tomorrow if the 14th Amendment still exists.
Knowing this court, they will get rid of it. I just don't. We can hold our hope, but I just don't trust this extreme court.
Have me back tomorrow. My official prediction is that birthright citizenship survives 7-2, and I will not be surprised if I'm completely wrong. But I still have to hold to hope. I have to hold on to something.
All right. I certainly appreciate it. Elis Mystal, thanks a lot.
Talk to you later.
All right. I want to go to my panel. The one that really jumps out here really deals with being able to fire anybody you want to. I mean, you literally had these protections that were all a part of that, but it's crazy. Thelma Anderson, creator of the Public Opinion Court and author, Shut Up and Prosecute from Dallas. Kelly Bethea, communication strategist, joining us from D.C. Jelana Jones, Texas State Representative and lawyer out of Houston. Jelana, I'll start with you. I mean, the whole point of having protections is you don't get somebody who is impetuous, somebody who is petty, and who is pathetic. And the court says, okay, you can do what you want to do. But again, what's good for the goose, good for the gander.
Did you say you were going to me first, Roland?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the one hand, I don't agree with the professor totally. What I think is they literally broadened the president's power to be able to get rid of anybody at a federal agency, and they cracked the I guess the shield that protected the FTC and Lisa Cook. And I think the Supreme Court is not stupid. I think Republicans are not stupid, and I think that they gave Supremes the opportunity to go back and get rid of Lisa Cook after the midterms because they know that Trump has a problem as it relates to Black women, and they didn't need one more thing that they could use during the midterms. Because there really is no difference in those federal agencies, except for, I will say, the FTC does do policy, and some of the other ones are like enforcement. So I don't believe that saving Lisa Cook's position is set in stone, and the Supreme Court literally has given Trump a way to come back because he said, oh, the reason you can't fire her now is because you didn't do it for cause. What you're alleging happened before, and it's established precedent that it has to be for cause. But as he just said, they just wiped out over 90 years of precedent in expanding his powers to get rid of executive level appointees. So I think it was just a political thing. It was not legal. And I think they're waiting to go. Just like Roland, if you'll remember with the gerrymandering, the at first they said, yeah, we're going to keep it, and they kept it out. And a Trump appointee
I
was
got
one
you.
of the ones who said it. And then I told you, Roland, before that, oh, they needed that to get it up to the Supreme Court. They're literally going to get rid of voting rights. And that's exactly what they did. So I think it's a sleight of hand. I think it was a political management situation,
Got it.
not the law. And after the midterms, she's going to be gone.
Kelly.
I mean, that was a lot, right? It was basically just a litany of just how the Republicans and Trump specifically is going to steamroll over every American and their rights. But the message that I received from all of this is that the Fed gets a guardrail because the markets need stability, but everybody else is up for grabs. You know, workers, consumers, civil rights enforcement gets political whiplash every 4 years because you now are in a predicament where, depending on who is in one branch, you can, not just lose your job, but lose your rights, right? So what does that mean for us? What does that mean for Black people? We rely on federal government a lot more than our other racial counterparts. Why? Because pretty much everybody else has failed us systemically. And if independent agencies become presidential loyalty shops, then the question becomes, who protects people from the administration itself when the administration itself is hostile to their rights, right? So I'm curious to see how this actually plays out outside of, my gut saying it's going to just be chaos. But at the end of the day, it just feels like they keep gutting the Constitution because they think that, the federal government has, way too much power, that government has way too much power. And the Constitution, in order to survive, in order to be effective, it doesn't require weak government. It requires accountable government. And you can't have accountable government when everything is being bottlenecked to one person being the president of the United States. And I feel like they know that, but they simply do not care because at the end of the day, it's about the preservation of white power, white supremacy, and just control overall.
Thelma.
The one thing that I always say about when we're looking at this political regime is you have to pay attention to what they don't say, because it's what they don't say is what they're going to do. So when looking at this ruling and how they word salad us in order to try to hide their real motive, plan, and opportunity and their intent, which is a part of the Federal Rules of Evidence, if anybody wants to look that up, they literally said that you have to follow the law. They let Trump know you didn't follow the right procedures, the law. So we just letting you know we're going to give you an opportunity to bring this back. And if you notice, majority of some of the cases that have been ruled on have been on the backs of African Americans or minorities. So if that shouldn't tell anyone anything about how this country feels about people of color, it says it every time they make these rulings. And to say that the president literally can ignore the civics of this country is saying civics don't matter anymore. You can do what you want so long as you bring it to the Supreme Court and you allow us to come back and dictate and give you the green light. But we ain't going to show them how the light is green. We just going to show them that the light can be a little bit of yellow if you all do the right thing. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And to do this on the backs of a Black woman who actually is doing her job, that to me says more than anything about the security and the protections that we were afforded no longer exist.
Well, we wait for the final rulings tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens. All right, going to a quick break. We come back. A surprising endorsement in the Georgia U.S. Senate race. A well-known conservative radio talk show host, is backing the Democrat. We'll talk about that. Also, the GOP war on Black America continues. Actress Garcelle Beauvais slams Megyn Kelly for her racist attack against Haitian immigrants. We got that. A lot more. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, let me tell you about Chapter. Now, if you're on Medicare or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
It's your boy Earthquake, giving Roland Martin something to do, because he don't know what to do. He from Texas. Ain't his fault.
Major elections in November. Democrats, of course, want to hold on to the seat in Georgia, pick up seats in North Carolina, Maine, Iowa, Alaska, and some other ones. Republicans have endorsed someone that many other Republicans have been highly critical. Well, conservative radio talk show host Shelley Wynter announced that he's saying adios to the Republican nominee, and he is supporting incumbent Senator Jon Ossoff. Well, of course, remember, Republican Derek Dooley, he lost to Mike Collins. And they're, like I say, so folks are talking about this. So, okay, what the hell's going on? So Shelley joins us right now. So, Shelley, what the hell? All your Republican buddies, are they disinviting you from the golf course?
Not at all. Good to see you, Roland. Not at all. I'm probably doing what thousands of Republican voters are going to do in Georgia, and that's split the ticket. It's been done before. It was done with Raphael Warnock when he won, and Brian Kemp won a gubernatorial race to Stacey Abrams. I was one of the people who did that, and it's probably going to be done again by thousands, hundreds of thousands of Republican voters, particularly moderate Republican voters. I like Derek Dooley in that primary. He did not come through. I'm not happy about Mike Collins. I'm not happy about the campaign that he ran. I'm not happy about the things that he wants to do. So I'm very happy to have endorsed Jon Ossoff. And then a couple days later, I exclusively had Rick Jackson on, who's running for governor, and endorsed him on the Republican side. So I'll be doing what a lot of Republican voters will be doing in Georgia, and that's splitting the ticket.
So what's the issue with Mike Collins?
Just don't like. I'm not for anybody going up to Washington saying that they're going to do whatever the sitting president and his party is doing. That's pretty much my issue. I'm not for that. It's just. It's not the way to do. You're supposed to go up there and represent us as Georgians, not the president necessarily. And whatever he wants to do is a blank check or automatic vote. So, and I'm also one of those Republicans. I was very unhappy with what happened to Thomas Massey. It's kind of me and my own personal wake up call to the Republican Party to come back home. To be a more moderate party and not this wackadoodle party that it seems to be becoming.
So you're bothered by the fact that Collins announced that he would be a Trump sycophant and do whatever he wants.
Pretty much, among some other things, which, tune into my show to find out.
Have you heard from the Ossoff folks?
Yeah, they were on my show when I endorsed them. I've had a great relationship with it's Ossoff, by the way, but I've had a great relationship with the Ossoff campaign. I've had a great relationship with his Senate office. We're in contact. He's a good representative of Georgians. He responds to the needs of Georgians, and that's why I endorsed him. Some of the issues that he's been working on as a senator here in Georgia, cracking down on Wall Street, ownership of homes down here that's driving up cost and driving people and driving out new home buyers. He's worked on some veterans issues, and he has a great constituent services down here. So for me, it's, at some point, someone's got to be brave enough on either side of the aisle to say, I'm not going to be a partisan hack. I'm not going to vote for my side all the time. And I'm going to maybe vote for the other side in particular races, not down ballot, but in particular races. And I think if we all did that, we might get the services that we need from our elected officials.
Well, you mentioned housing there in Atlanta. How is it playing Trump's refusal to sign that law until he get the SAVE Act?
Right, I'm opposed. I'm mad at that. I'm upset at that. I really am. I said it as much on my show the other night.
All right. Well, listen, it's going to be a whole lot seeing what happens. And last thing, the next time I'm in Atlanta, I'm going to come by your studio so I can show you how to do your phone right. So we ain't got them 2 black bars on the side, Shelley. So we can
right. I'm sorry, man. Hey, I apologize for that. I'm happy. You know what? I'd like for you to show me. I would like for you to show me. I would like for you to show me that while we're on the golf course for NABJ. And
Shelley,
please call me so we can put this tournament together.
Shelley, you don't want to be on the course. I'm gonna take your money, Shelley.
I can't wait to see you, my brother.
I'm gonna take
Can't wait to see you in Atlanta, my brother.
I'm gonna take your money. All right.
I can't wait to see you.
I'll be there for a whole week. All right, Shelley Wynter, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
I can't wait to see you.
We appreciate it.
God bless you.
Thanks a lot. It is going to be, obviously, we're already in the midst of campaign season, and that's going on. Over the weekend, Democrats had their Texas state convention. Of course, it was all about focusing on trying to rally the base around their ticket. Gina Hinojosa running for governor, State Representative James Tallarico running for United States Senate. And I saw some chatter online. There were some people who were not particularly pleased with Tallarico's speech because he cited his family and the Texas independence from Mexico, when in reality, the Texas Revolution was over slavery. But we'll deal with that. But one of the folks who spoke is Representative Jolanda Jones, and she had the folks there a bit fired up, and it was a direct challenge to all of the candidates running statewide, saying, if y'all want to win, y'all had better focus, laser-like focus on black folks.
Black Texans are heartbroken after 2 extraordinarily inspiring, qualified black women, Vice President Kamala Harris and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, lost. With Congresswoman Crockett's loss, there are zero, zilch, nada black statewide candidates for the midterms. Black Texans are hurt, angry, and discouraged. You can clap, it's the truth. Ignoring that reality won't make it disappear. Telling us we have to vote Democrat won't motivate us to vote. But there is good news. We can earn the black vote. Not assume it, not expect it, but earn it. And let me be clear. We don't want Texas to make the same mistake this country made when Walter Mondale defeated Jesse Jackson. Too many people assumed Jesse's inspired supporters would simply fall in line. They assumed the energy and enthusiasm he created in black communities would automatically transfer to the Democratic nominee. It didn't happen. Just like today, with Vice President Kamala Harris and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett didn't win, we can't assume the voters they inspired will simply show up. Inspiration doesn't transfer, it must be earned. So the question is simple. Are we smart enough, Texas Democrats, to learn from history? Will we invest in Black Texans and earn the Black vote? Or will we take Black voters for granted and wake up after Election Day with a big L? The 18 Democratic members of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus represent, for the most part, more than 90% of Black Texans. We know our communities, and we've earned their trust. But trust alone does not make people vote. The members of TLBC know our communities. We know our pastors, our county and precinct chairs, our neighborhood leaders, our organizers, radio shows, newspapers, podcasters, social media influencers, and the Black thought leaders, political consultants, and pollsters who actually make Black voters go to the polls. Radio costs money. Digital costs money. Organizing costs money. GOTV costs money. So if you know and you appreciate that you need us and you respect us, if you trust us, invest in us, work with us, not around us, and together we can deliver victory. There are, okay, all right. There are many ways to lose this election. There is one clear path to victory. That path runs through Black Texas, not by talking at Black voters, but by listening to Black voters, not by taking Black voters for granted, but by investing in Black communities. The road to turning Texas blue runs through Black Texas. So I'll leave you with this. Be bold, be brave, tell the truth, have the courage to have the conversations that make people real uncomfortable, and do the things that need to be done to get out the vote. Because I believe if we do that, Texas Democrats, that Texas can change and that Black Texans are ready to help lead that change. Okay. Let's invest boldly. Let's organize bravely. And let's turn Texas blue. Because trust and believe, on my mama, the road to blue goes through Black. Thank you.
All righty. First off, Yolanda, why you take off your jacket?
Dude, you didn't say I had on a jacket.
Like, were you trying to sit here? Like what? You trying like a preacher?
Dude, I had on a Jesse Jackson T-shirt from Rainbow Push. That's why I took it off.
Well, first of all, the T-shirt was purple, right? It was black, so we couldn't tell what the hell it was. I was like, what is she taking her jacket off for? Like for dramatic effect? All right.
I wanted for people to see since I used the Jesse Jackson example.
Okay, all right.
See Jesse?
Yeah, now we can make it out.
It was like this Jesse. So we about to have the Jesse effect.
Okay.
That's what it was for, sir.
Got it. Next time wear a white T-shirt so we can see the brother. Anyway.
They didn't have no white T-shirts at Rainbow Push.
You can't find something.
Yeah, I'm like, even I saw the first two times, I'm like, why is she taking her jacket off? Anyway.
Acting like the elder.
I'm just right. I'm like sitting there like, okay, like dramatic effect. All right, anyway, after you gave your speech, what was the dialogue and what is your honest assessment of right now? Here we are at the end of June. You've got 5 months left. The primary was over in March. We knew exactly who the U.S. Senate candidate was going to be, Tellerico. We knew that Hinojosa was going to be the gubernatorial candidate. And so now we know with the ticket in terms of the other statewide races, Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, those races. So, okay, where is this party when it comes to doing something and reaching out to the group of voters that represent the largest group of black voters of eligible black voters of any state in America?
So we go see. I reached out to Tallarico in March. He has not wanted to have that conversation with me. So, you know, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. But I can tell you that I prayed, Roland, before I gave the speech because they wanted for me to give like a rah-rah inspirational speech. And I just didn't think that that needed to be said. And I wanted to let the Texas Democratic Party know from the main stage that they got a black problem unless they fix it. And I've learned that Tallarico controls the Democratic Party because he is the highest, he's at the top of the ticket. And since he won't listen and he hasn't responded and he's ignored people and he's told people that he's working with black electeds and he's not for the most part, I just wanted to say it. I fully expected that black people and black delegates would understand. What really surprised, and I was prepared for white people to be angry at me because of white fragility, white privilege, and they always want to blame stuff on us and want us to be Captain Save-A-Ho for the Democratic Party all the time. I was seriously surprised that I got all of the ovations that I got standing up. So that was, I like that. I will say that there were some outlying white folks who were really upset and basically said that they took that I was saying we were going to hold the black vote for granted. That's not what I said. I said there are things you can do, Texas Democratic Party, to get black people to roll with you. Now, do I think that Tallarico's refusal thus far to engage black electeds and the black infrastructure has put him at a disadvantage? Absolutely, because there's not a lot of time to try to rally us. But we actually had a meeting today, Roland, early today, where black people, black thought leaders, elected officials from Dallas and Houston met, and we are getting together and we're going to stand together. And hopefully Tallarico and the Texas Democratic Party will see that and they will listen to us because Tallarico has given out money to white GOTV organizations and white infrastructure, and Hispanic infrastructure, but he's not giving it to black infrastructure. And so either they'll listen or they won't. Again, even though I knew I could lose votes, I did it anyway, because sometimes in life you got to pick a side, and I need to know if the Texas Democratic Party is going to pick our side. I did speak with Kendall Scudder, the chair of the Texas Democratic Party, and he told me he would be meeting with me. Again, meetings do nothing if we don't have action into it, but I have already told them, Roland, they need to pay for black infrastructure. They need to pay for media with you and not just CNN, and other people like you. I've told them that we have people like using hit strategies with Terrence Woodbury, who no one polls black people better than him. We don't want no white pollsters. They don't know how to poll us. And for the most part, I've told them it takes money to get the vote out, right? Inspiration doesn't get the vote out. So Tallarico needs to pay for us to get our voters out. Only then does Tallarico have a chance to win. If he continues to do what he has been doing, I believe Tallarico is going to lose. So we'll see. Tallarico's campaign has not reached out to me, even though the most talked about speech from the Texas Democratic Convention, from what I see on social media and from what I hear, is the speech that I made, because that's the big elephant in the room. Because again, Tallarico and everybody statewide and the Democratic Party has a black problem, whether they acknowledge it or not. And inspiration is not going to get us to the polls.
One of the things that that I have consistently been saying, and in fact, on Saturday, I spoke the Northern Virginia Pastors Association had a town hall, Freedom to Vote, and I was a keynote speaker. And I made that point that the bottom line is we're not interested in being sharecroppers. We're not interested in tilling the soil, and that the reality is the money has to be put on the ground. And even though Texas is an expansive state, huge state, 254 counties, there's a lot of ground to cover. Everything can't be done just by putting ads on television. And the reality is, we had Ashley Etienne on the show the other day. It was an op-ed.
He was there today, Roland.
It was an op-ed that she wrote in Houston Chronicle, talking about lack of black turnout in the last two senatorial races, presidential races as well. And same thing when about putting resources on the ground. At the end of the day, what I keep telling these candidates, point blank, is that the math is the math. The further you get away, as every day progresses, as you move forward, you're further away from the civil rights movement, and as each day progresses, you're losing baby boomers, people who came of age or who were in their, who were 18, 19, 20, in the 20s and 30s during the 1960s. And if you look at the data is very clear. 65 plus voters, black, significant numbers identify as Democrats. You go 55, 64, still a big number. You go below 54 years old, that drops. And I have been saying for years that Democrats are going to have to spend a minimum 4 times as much time and 4 times as much money than they normally do in order to reach black voters, because black voters are not as self-identifying as we used to. And I don't know what the hell these white Democratic strategists are smoking or sniffing, but they don't understand the real world in black America and black Texas.
But Roland, in Texas, it's not just the strategists. It's like the white Democrats. I had one of my white supporters be very upset. She texted me and was very upset because she thought I was threatening to withhold the black vote and that a really bad man, Paxton, was going to win. And I told her I'm not threatening anything, but I also told her, you literally cannot shame us into voting for Tallarico if he won't even, when he needs us, come and speak with us and listen to our issues and develop a strategy to address our issues. And so to say, what are you going to do? Like vote Republican? Like they don't think we have a choice. They think that we have to vote for Tallarico.
But what they understand is the couch is actually a choice. And we've seen it since Obama ran in 2008, 2012. You have seen a drop. You have seen a drop in black voter participation in every election. It's right there in the numbers. I don't know what the hell they're looking at, and it's there in the data. I don't understand it.
But you know what I told her, Roland? I literally said, let me be clear. I have an option not to vote for Tallarico. I can go vote for who I want to vote for, and I can literally skip that race. And Tallarico needs our votes. But I also told her, what I'm going to need for you not to do, you literally are turning people away from the Democratic Party. You are purporting to speak for Democrats. The second you go tell somebody you don't, basically you too dumb to know how to vote, like you're making a bad decision, it's our fault being black people's fault, that Republicans are winning, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the second you move your mouth as a white person, in this case, a white woman, to go and complain about what black people don't know, what they can't do, how stupid they are, why we're stuck in the situation we're in, to a black person, I doubt very seriously whether the black people agree with you. Some might push back. Some just won't say anything and be like, she crazy. And when you tell me I'm stupid and you tell me to do something, I'm going to do just the opposite. And so I told her, the second you get ready to move your lips to tell a black person how dumb black people are, I promise you, whether they tell you or not, you are hurting yourself. We ain't listening to you, and you're pushing people farther and farther away from the Democratic Party. So interestingly, and I was pleasantly surprised that she understood, because I told her, you need to listen to what I'm saying and not be defensive, because I agree with you. Paxton is terrible. If Paxton is a senator, things will be really bad. But I told her at the end of the day, regardless of whether Democrats are in office or whether Republicans are in office, black people always get the worst end of everything. And even when there's prosperity, black people always receive the least amount of prosperity. So for us, it doesn't matter. And it's like, we damned if we do, if we damned if we don't. So if the point is to tell us, to put us down and not actually listen to us, like you're the boss and you know what's best for us, i.e. white man's burden, then you're pushing us away. We're not going to vote for you. And if you can either receive that and try to learn from it and try to learn from the Black perspective or not. But you better start listening to us, because the guaranteed votes that we used to give y'all, we just not giving y'all no more. And ain't nothing you can do to make us think it's our fault that we in the situation we in. Because the truth is, white progressive women put Trump in office over their own Hillary Clinton, which started all this. So you really need to be talking to white progressive women.
Thelma, again, numbers do not lie. And it's very simple. Why did Republicans do as well in the last election with Latino voters? Mm-hmm. There was a massive investment reaching those voters. That was an early investment. See, I'll never forget, the Republicans were running ads on Black radio in key markets, Detroit was one of them, that included attacks on Biden-Harris with regards to trans rights. Now, whether you support or don't, it doesn't matter. Understand the strategy. They were appealing to Black voters who are church-going voters. That was in March. And I remember sending a text message to leaders in the campaign. And their deal was, man, it's not showing up in our research. And I was like, say what? So then you go to April, May, June, and then you go to the fall. They took that strategy and they then went, remember they included the Breakfast Club clip in that ad. I was in multiple battleground states. Those trans commercials were running in every football game. I think one of the states, I cannot remember, I literally saw the commercial 6 to 8 times during halftime alone. And I was going, if y'all think this is not going to have an impact, y'all are crazy. So what is my point here? The point here is this here. This is the data. Racial gaps in turnout, they are increasing. Okay, we've talked about it. Go to my iPad. We talked about it. You see it right here. You saw where that blue line are African Americans. You see right there in 2008, 2012, how that number went high. 2012, it was higher than white voters in the Black line. Then you saw it dip, but over the next 4 years. Then it went up in 2020 because of COVID, because they expanded access to the ballot. Then you see it dip right there in 2024. I keep telling these Democrats, ball don't lie. And if y'all do not pay attention to what is going on, and if you do not make substantive investments over a longer period of time, you are not going to get Black turnout. And here's the reality. Tallarico and any Democrat, and you cannot win without Black people in Texas or Louisiana or Mississippi, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida. I'm like, hello?
The road to blue goes through Black.
Thelma?
You're absolutely correct. And the one thing that I've continued to say about Tallarico is that he doesn't acknowledge the Black vote. And he only acknowledges the Black vote when he needs it. And they forget that Texas Black vote is not like Georgia's Black vote. And what we are seeing now is the Black vote in Texas, that the Dems are tired. They're tired of being abused. They're tired of being taken advantage for because of their vote and the power in the Black vote. They lay down. They don't do anything to protect the Black vote. They don't do anything to protect the Black businesses, which is why we are looking at the gaps in how they pay Black political influencers and Black media, but they go and spend millions of dollars on the whites and the Latinas, and then they expect to come and say, oh, you got to do this. Black people are tired of y'all telling us what we got to do. we're going to show you what we will do since y'all want to play with us. And that's exactly what Tallarico is experiencing. What we're seeing now is Tallarico's past, when he made these misrepresentations on 2 Black candidates, and he refused to speak on Black issues, but you want the Black vote. You don't want to spend money with the Black vote, but you want to spend money to attack Jasmine Crockett because y'all can't read, or y'all lack the fundamentals of actually reading with purpose. But that's not a Black problem. That is why he's struggling to reach the Black vote, and he's running out of time. He's running out of time. And one example I will leave people with, because this was a recent election, the reason the mayor in New Orleans won against 2 Black candidates in one of the Blackest cities in this country is because she knew how to energize the Black vote. She enriched her campaign with the most qualified Black people or people of color in New Orleans, and she won big. So if anybody should be taking a page out of how to reach the Black vote, he needs to be contacting her and also utilizing the Black representatives and political strategists here to understand you are running out of time, and time is not on we don't care, because we're going to do what we need to do. But we're going to stop with y'all using our vote to try to demonize us, because we are putting y'all on the clock and making y'all do y'all work.
Kelly, and again, I'm just going based upon what I've said on the show previously and what I've said to candidates directly. Every day that you wait is a day that you've lost, that you can't get back. And the reality is, from the moment the primary ended, it should have been, to me, and this is and I'm not talking about just Texas. I'm talking about all of these places where Democrats need to win. And every day it has to be, how are we hitting the pavement? What groups are we touching? How are we reaching them? What are the constituents? What specifically, how are we communicating with Black men? How are we communicating with Black businesses? How are we communicating with Black evangelicals? How are we communicating with Black activists, social groups? There has never been, but there is no monolith. And what people have to understand now, that Black voters are just as fragmented as other groups. I will never forget. As a matter of fact, y'all find, you probably can't find it right now, but go through our stuff from Georgia. And that was, I forgot which town we were in. This was in 2022, and it may have been Jonesboro. I cannot remember. There was a Black woman who owned a cafe, Kelly. And it was Herschel Walker versus Senator Raphael Warnock. And everybody kept talking about reproductive rights. And this sister said, listen, I'm a woman. I care about reproductive rights, but I am not having a baby. My baby is this cafe. And what I'm listening to Walker and Warnock talk about taxes, talk about supporting small businesses. And that was a perfect example. If you talk to typical campaign, they'll be like, oh, Black female, Black maternal health, reproductive rights. No, she was a business owner. And that right there, you've heard Black folks say, do not come talking to us about social programs. Come talk to us about entrepreneurship, because this generation, what's the favorite phrase? Securing the bag. And so, again, if you have campaigns and you do not have Black people, African Americans who are tied into Black people, who know what Black people are saying, and to Jelana's point, if you're utilizing the public opinion, the public research, the opinion research of Terrence Woodbury, you're using the polling data of Cornell Belcher, who trained Terrence Woodbury, if you've got a Ron Lester, now you have an understanding of what specifically Black folks are saying, and that's not hard to do, but you got to do it.
Not only do you have to do it, But the fact of the matter is, in order to do it, it costs money and it costs time. And what I have noticed is that on both sides of the aisle, but we're talking about Democrats right now, they are what appears to be intentionally lazy when it comes to investing in Black voting, Black galvanization to vote, etc. Because here's the thing. Black voters are also sophisticated. Like you said, we are not a monolith. Black conservatives are sophisticated. Black moderates are sophisticated. Black progressives. And we need to stop treating Black political behavior like it's just this one size fit all, to the point where you only see it as loyalty or betrayal, right? It is strategy. It is survival. And this is where politics get real, because we don't live in partisan press releases. We don't live in talking points, right? Our politics live inside grocery bills, hospital bills, school systems, small businesses, like you said, sometimes even family drama, right? So even going back to your previous guest, who is the conservative talk show host, he basically said, I'm not agreeing with you on everything, but I trust you more than I trust the person who's supposed to be aligned with my ideologies the most, right? The game is, who is the least likely to play in my face? Who is the least likely to take me for granted? And right now, the answer is neither party. And that's why Democrats right now, especially in Texas, where it has been, we're about to turn blue for the longest freaking time, right? They haven't been able. Oh, I'm sorry. We are about to, I'm sorry, I heard something in my ear, but it is, Texans have been about to turn blue for the longest time. And the reason why they haven't crossed that threshold into Blueville, so to speak, is because they haven't invested in Black communities and people of color to the extent that they invest in white voting. And let's face it, white voters are also on the decline, just like our boomers are. So you're going to have to put up or shut up eventually.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I know what we do. In fact, on Saturday, when we broadcast from the Virginia Dems Blue Commonwealth Gala, when I was interviewing, Mark Warner, and I didn't know he was going to do this. And again, when you talk to people who understand in terms of, what we do and how we speak to a group that nobody else does, and I got no problem saying it. There's nobody else Black in the digital space who does what we do. Nobody. And I'm including big names y'all know. There's nobody. That's just a fact. Nobody else is 5 days a week. Nobody else is centering African Americans exclusively. This is what Senator Warner had to say.
Take 1 minute of this to just say to the audience what Roland does in terms of presenting, not just a Black point of view of America, but the fact that he is willing to put himself out to hold all of us accountable in a way that communicates and says it in a much more real way than most people in journalism is important, because at this moment in time, people are giving up because it feels like the deck is so stacked against them. And this young man, Roland Martin, still calls it straight and keeps us in the fight. But it might take.
Now, I can guarantee you, when we start talking, when these folks start spending advertising money, and I've said this before, because the Simple Simons out there really are stupid. It amazes me. You're going to, and let me just be real clear, everybody who's watching, y'all need to understand, and Jolanda knows this, Kelly knows this, Thelma knows this. You're likely going to see, once all the receipts are added up, upwards of $10 billion to $12 billion spent on this year's midterm. And for the Simple Simon Negroes, white media is going to clean up. I just want y'all to understand, every major media company that is a public company. They have been saying, they said in their first quarterly earnings report, which was in April, because the first quarter was January, February, and March. They said in their second quarterly earnings report, and they're going to say it in their third quarterly earnings report, the percentage of political advertising that they expect to get. And Urban One, of course, black-owned, Alfred Liggins, Kathy Hughes. But let me tell you, Comcast, Disney, Sinclair, Nexstar, all of those publicly traded companies, they're all are banking on getting billions of dollars in political advertising. That's national networks, local TV stations, radio stations, iHeart, Cumulus, Odyssey, all those people. And here we are as black-owned media, we should expect to be receiving advertising as well. But when I listen to some black people like, you shouldn't be taking advertising. How in the hell do you think media what the hell do you think media runs on? That is literally the fuel and the oxygen of media. But again, what I need our people to do is be far more sophisticated. And Jolanda, the problem that we have is that we got a couple of things. We got a lot of black politicians who are afraid to challenge the National Democratic Party, the State Democratic Party, or the County Democratic Party. Or we have black politicians who want to make excuses and are willing to deliver, or they claim to deliver black voters and deliver their endorsement, and they haven't gotten anything for it. And that, to me, is dumb as hell if you do not maximize a return on the investment.
I agree, but or there are black politicians who think white folks' ice is colder, including white media is colder. Mm-hmm. So you have that group of people as well. But what I mean, in our meeting today, like, people don't understand. I'll give an example. In 2022, when I was running, and it was the first time I was actually able to raise money, right? And so I was able and learned about things that I had no idea existed. For example, on the morning of Election Day, my campaign manager, Dallas Jones, called me and said, Joe, I need for you to sign a check for $46,000. This is on Election Day, about 11 o'clock in the morning, polls closed at 7. I was like, $46,000 for what? He was like, Joe, there are people who we know love you and they have not voted yet. And we only have until 7 o'clock. So we have got to touch those voters. We don't have a lot of time. And there is a company that can touch them. You have the money, Joe. Sign the damn check. I signed the damn check, right? So I think that people presume that just because somebody wants to vote for you, if they like you, they're going to come vote. People have lives and they're struggling in those lives. And so even with you, Roland, for example, when you came here and you delivered, you came here for the Super Bowl, you actually had a whole team. That cost money. You had to film from a place or whatever it's called. That costs money. And for whatever reason, they don't appreciate what you do. And I will tell you this, when I started being on your show for CNN and MSNBC and all that stuff, let me be clear, I had more black people come to me and say, I saw you on Roland. I love me some Roland. And I'll also say, I know for a fact, Roland, and I don't think people appreciate this. If people pay money for something, they're invested in it. People pay you for you to be able to stay on. Those are people who actually swear by everything that you put on because they appreciate it. And I say that to say this. If people need black people to get elected, why in the hell would you not go to people that people pay money to get them to stay on TV? And so I just think that we are colonialized. We think white folks' ice is colder. We don't value our stuff. And they think if we do offer the same thing as white people, that the value of our stuff is less. It costs less. And it's a problem. And unless and until Tallarico and everybody else with white media starts getting black pollsters, black people like you, black social media influencers, black thought leaders, until they start listening to us because we have our ears to the ground, I'm telling you, they're going to lose. And this election is going to show those people better than we can tell them.
Yep.
And so I absolutely appreciate, Beto raised money hand over foot. He lost. Black people weren't inspired by him. And he ran twice, and everybody holds him as a standard. But isn't the standard supposed to be if you won? He hadn't won. All right, he hadn't won.
Yep.
And they can, and Tallarico, okay, you ain't won yet. And trust and believe, come November, if you don't win, you're gonna be an afterthought as well. You raise a whole bunch of money, and what I'm saying is, I believe that Tallarico and the statewide candidates, but mostly Tallarico, should give to elected officials who know how to get our voters out to vote for us. Because if my voters come out to vote for me, I can probably get them to vote for Tallarico. He needs to do it because the people who are donating money, they're not giving it to us. Everybody's giving money to Tallarico. And if you can go write a check for $10 million to a white GOTV group that I ain't never heard of, and they damn sure ain't heard of me, then how they gonna get my voters out? And I will also tell you, the black people that he has in his campaign, like one of the black people he has in Houston, I don't know the man. The man didn't know me. So how are you responsible for getting out voters when you literally don't know or haven't contacted the black elected officials in the area you're responsible for getting black vote out? It's the craziest shit I ever heard. But again, I've been trying to talk to Tallarico since March, and he's been avoiding me since March. So, and I had another black woman tell me, Jolanda, if he's scared to talk to you, I mean, he ain't gonna be able to stand the heat being a senator. And I hadn't thought of that. And I said, you know what, you're right. If you are too whatever to have a tough conversation about what the real issues are so that you can get the real black voters out to vote for you, then that's a problem. Because you don't know what's best for us, and you telling your little stories about how your mother suffered and was a single parent and all this stuff. You still white. You got white privilege. There are things that you got that you can never understand. So you need to come and speak with us. And that's white people everywhere.
All right.
So right now, let me be clear. Talking about these young people, they don't understand the civil rights movement. Half of them don't even know.
Real quick, I got to end this conversation because I'm going to guess wait. They've been waiting for 15 minutes. Let me go to a quick break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support our work. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. You want to contribute via Cash App. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. You're listening. Go to blackstarnetwork.com. That's for credit cards as well. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 5196, Washington, D.C. 2003 790-196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back. Or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
My name is Lena Charles, and I'm from Opelousas, Louisiana. Yes, that is Zydeco capital of the world.
My name is Margaret Chappelle. I'm from Dallas, Texas, representing the Urban Trivia Game.
It's me, Sherry Shepherd, and you know what you watch.
Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
Black Mississippi workers are suing a farmer who paid higher wages and favored white South African guest workers. The black workers, Michael Anthony Nash, Jimmy Shaw, Vinnie Kaysen, Grant Lewis, and Charleston Harris, allege a pattern of racial and citizenship-based discrimination and wage theft. The Mississippi Center for Justice and the Southern Migrant Legal Services filed a federal lawsuit in Greenville, Mississippi against Gregory Carr, farm owner and manager of Carr Farms, headquartered in Schlatter, a small town in LaFleur County, Mississippi. It's a producer of rice and soybeans. Greg Shell of Southern Migrant Legal Services joins us right now. And Greg, glad to have you here. And so are these white South African farmers, were they the folks that Donald Trump let into the country?
Well, they're among them. The Mississippi Delta has been using, they're now up to about 4,000 South Africans they bring in to help with the harvest. And they've been displacing the local black population that has been there for many years. And so what's happened is even though they're paying the South Africans higher and they've refused to raise the wages to the local workers are gradually being pushed out, even though it costs the farmer a little more money. But this is not unique to this one case. This is about the 7th case we filed on behalf of black workers in the Delta who've been paid less and offered less work than the South Africans that are imported.
How long has this been going on?
It's been going on for about 10 years, and nobody stumbled on it. And part of the problem was the local workers didn't realize they were entitled to the same pay as the South Africans. They didn't know anything about this program. All of a sudden, there were these South Africans showing up, and they just figured, well, okay, they're paying them whatever they're paying them, and they'll keep paying us close to the minimum wage. And that's what happened. And thanks to the Mississippi Center for Justice, they stumbled on this, and then what they started asking questions, and it turned out there were literally dozens of farms doing this. There was such an outcry that it got on, and it was featured in the New York Times on the first page. And the Secretary of Labor himself came down, held a meeting in Indianola, Mississippi with the workers, and he sent down subsequently the Assistant Secretary, the Wage and Hour Administrator, and a strike force to go around the Delta and inform these farmers, you cannot keep doing this. Now, this last farmer we're suing, Mr. Carr, is sort of a holdover. We think most of the farms are now paying the South Africans and the Americans the same rate. But what has happened to make things more complicated is the Trump administration lowered the wages for all farm workers in October of last year, and it's a drop of about 25 to 30%. So the workers last year in Mississippi that worked on these farms were guaranteed $14.87 an hour. This year they're guaranteed under $9. So and the South Africans are getting $9 too. But this was a gift to the farmers. According to the government, this is going to result in an additional $1 billion with a B savings every year for farmers across the country by paying these lower wages. So that was purely a gift from the Trump administration.
Wow.
So that makes it even more attractive to bring in the foreign worker. The foreign worker doesn't have a choice. The South African, he's got it tough at home. He'll take the $9. That local worker says, well, phooey on that $9. I know I can do better than that. And I'm out of here, which just hastens the departure of domestic workers, U.S. workers, local black workers from these jobs.
Questions from the panel. Kelly, you first.
Sure. So bottom line for me is that you can't say there are no American workers willing to do the work while Black American workers are standing right there doing the work and being underpaid for it. But on the other hand, this shouldn't be turned into an anti-immigrant story either. So how do we reconcile those two things, and what are next steps?
Well, the law is pretty clear. In much of the country, the truth is there just are not a lot of Americans willing to do the hard labor. The Mississippi Delta is a little different because there just aren't a lot of job opportunities there. So many of these people have grown up on the farm, and that's all that there's available. So the law is very clear. You have to hire any American who applies first. You got to hire him first. And if you do hire a foreign worker, because you didn't get enough Americans, you have to pay the domestic worker at least as much as you're paying the foreign worker. The law is clear. It's been there for 50 years. It's no change. But what has happened is this got introduced into Mississippi and nobody checked. The Mississippi Labor Department didn't check. The Mississippi state government didn't check. And frankly, those of us who are advocates didn't check until the Mississippi Center for Justice sort of stumbled on this. And then they started asking around for more and more people, and they found out, gee, this is widespread, which is frightening. But now we found other problems out there as well. The local workers also, now this particular farm, in order to save further money, is treating everybody as an independent contractor. In other words, you get a 1099 rather than a W-2. Now that sounds pretty good. You get a little more money in your paycheck. What it does mean, though, is that you're going to owe a bunch of self-employment taxes at the end of the year, and you're not going to get any credit for Social Security, and you won't be covered by the workers' compensation insurance because you're not an employee. And so that's been another thing we found, that apparently, according to the farm and their accountant, that's common out there. The local workers simply are treated as independent contractors. And so when they get old enough and either disabled or reach old age for Social Security, they find little or no money in their accounts. And they either get little Social Security or get nothing at all because nobody's ever paid it in on them. It's a different world in the Delta. It's about, we used to see this elsewhere in the country 40, 50 years ago. The Delta seems to be stuck in a time warp.
Thelma?
Good evening. One question that I had, I'm glad you spoke on it, because a lot of people don't understand how, and can you explain how were they able to get away with making Black Americans work under an independent contractor status, but the immigrants were being classified as employees? That to me makes no sense, but I understand the legalities of how and why they would do it to African Americans opposed to following the law. So can you break down how they were able to get away with this independent contractor status on American farm workers versus the immigrants?
If nobody checks on them, nothing changes. And if you recall, Mississippi was famous for what they did with, remember Brett Favre and the volleyball court they built at University of Southern Mississippi for his daughter with monies that were supposed to help poor families, many of them in the Delta. Mississippi has not been at the vanguard of protecting the poor citizens in its within its borders. And so, again, nobody said anything. And the local workers, they don't know. You see, this also is reflected in unemployment compensation. If you're an independent contractor, there's no unemployment compensation for you. And if you look at the data, the counties in the Delta, the participation in unemployment compensation is extremely low. Of course, that's even with the tiny benefits. In Mississippi, the most you can get if you're unemployed, even if you're Donald Trump's salary, the most you can get in a week for unemployment compensation is $235. But even that money is being denied to these local workers because they're not on the payroll. They're independent contractors. So when the work ends at the end of the harvest and those winter months come, there's no money. There's no unemployment compensation.
Yolanda?
The first thing I want to do is thank you for suing, right? Because the courthouse makes people do things. But what I see is that they would rather pay white immigrants from South Africa more money than paying Black people. So that's just like anti-Blackism. They can't stand us. And then once they got called on it, now they're willing to even pay the white people less because they don't want to pay Black people. So my question to you is, what do you think the ultimate outcome of this lawsuit is going to be? And do you think that it is going to be helpful to Black workers in Mississippi?
Well, we've filed, as I mentioned, first of all, you should know that it's even worse. Not only do they pay the South Africans more, they pay them an average of nearly $1,000 each worker from South Africa to pay for their expenses to come over here. So they're paying that money on top of everything else. But the question is, will we be successful, and how can we change this? The other cases, like most cases in court, have settled, some of them for a good amount of money, because they realize they're wrong. And we're fortunate we're going to trial in Greenville, Mississippi. Greenville is one of those rare jurisdictions in the South where the jury pool is going to be probably majority black. And we've asked for a jury trial. And we think that we won't have to, it won't be hard for us to explain to the jury what's going on here. That we think they'll figure that out. There are so many examples, and one of our claims is a racial discrimination claim. One of the things that was striking was they pay the white workers also. There are a few local white workers. They pay them as independent contractors too, but they do something very special. When you're an independent contractor, you have to pay roughly 12% self-employment taxes to make up for the fact that there's no Social Security, no FICA being paid on you. So you pay that tax because you're an independent contractor. For the white workers, the farm paid, the white worker would come to the farm and say, I owe $6,000 in self-employment taxes, and the farm would write them a check. Didn't do that for any of the black workers. Now, some of them, the IRS hasn't caught up with them yet. A few of them they have, and they've gotten letters from the IRS saying, where's the money? And they say, well, I don't know. I don't think I was an independent contractor. These are not independent contractors. They work for a wage every day. They're given direction. They're just like any other employee. This was just a way for the farm. The farm said, we asked the farmer, well, why do you do it this way? Well, 30 years ago, I talked to my workers and said, would you rather be paid without any taxes coming out or not? And they said, we'd rather have no taxes. And so since it was okay 30 years ago, I figured it's okay today. And again, that consequences of Social Security, what we're seeing in the Delta is all these older, retired, former farm workers from the Delta are either getting tiny, tiny Social Security checks or not any checks at all because they don't have enough credit. If you look at their earnings record, they've worked 50 years in their lives, but if you look at their earnings records with the government, only a small part of it shows up because much of the work was done as independent contractors off the books as far as the government's concerned.
All right, Greg Shell, keep us abreast of what happens next in this case.
Will do.
All right then, folks. Got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll have Black Star Network headlines, and of course, we will talk about Garcelle Bouveau, who, let's just say, she had a few words for Megyn Kelly and her racist attack on Haitian Americans. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Medicare, or about to be, the system is not set up to work for you. Too much fine print, too many plans, and too many people making money off of your confusion. And look, we're used to this. We're no strangers to systems that don't have our best interests at heart. But we don't have to accept it when it comes to Medicare. That's why I'm telling you about Chapter. Their advisors are independent and honest. In fact, they're the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide. And they're focused on one thing: what works for you. If there's a better plan out there, they'll find it. If you're already in the right one, they'll tell you that too. There are no games. Just last year, people who switched with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. It's 20 minutes and a real person. It's completely free. My parents actually have already called. My mom sent me a text. Folks, give Chapter a call at 724-264-8281, 724-264-8281, and connect with someone you can trust. Folks, these are the kind of services that we need for our audience here at Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So call Chapter right now, 724-264-8281.
Melanie Campbell, National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and Black Women's Roundtable. And we are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered all day, every day, 24/7. Spread the word.
All right, folks, time for Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble.
St. Louis Metropolitan Police say a 10-year-old boy is being charged with first-degree murder following a shooting that killed a 7-month-old girl in North St. Louis City. Police believe the boy shot Kimani Parker just after 4:00 p.m. on Friday, June 26th. She was taken to the hospital where she died. According to Missouri law, juveniles must be 12 years or older to stand trial as an adult, so he will likely be charged as a juvenile. Police also arrested the baby's father, 19-year-old Cameron Pondwell. He is charged with second-degree murder and first-degree child endangerment, resulting in the death of a child, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child by creating a substantial risk. Investigators said that they learned Pondwell allegedly kept the gun underneath a mattress in the home, and the 10-year-old boy was aware of where the gun was stored. And 2 women and a toddler were found dead Saturday night at a Jackson, Mississippi home. Jackson police responded to a call around 10 o'clock p.m. and upon arrival at the scene, officers located the 3 victims described as a 26-year-old woman, a 30-year-old woman, and a 2-year-old toddler. The Jackson police officials say all 3 victims had been shot multiple times and died from their injuries. A vehicle, a red 2020 Mitsubishi belonging to one of the victims, which had been taken during the crime, had been located at Manhattan Park in North Jackson on Sunday afternoon. Police are processing it for evidence. Investigators are still working to both identify and then locate suspects in the case. No further information has been released at this time. A 39-year-old white man in Newark, New Jersey is facing felony charges after allegedly attacking a 70-year-old black man during a disturbance last week. Police responded to a house on Seacrest Street around 4:50 p.m. Officers found the victim with significant facial injuries after being allegedly assaulted with a 2x4. Investigators said the suspect, Brandon Watts, and the victim, who live in the same neighborhood, were involved in a verbal altercation when Watt used racial slurs and attacked the victim as he retreated toward the side yard of his home. Police said Watt struck the victim from behind and punched him several more times, causing a fractured eye socket, broken nose, and fractured jaw. The attack happened in the presence of a child. Police also tied Watt to a June 1st harassment complaint involving the same victim on the same street. In that case, the victim told police a man threatened him while using racial slurs. And Chicago rapper Twista pleads guilty to failing to pay over $440,000 in income taxes. His real name is Carl Mitchell, and he's accused of failing to pay taxes between 2019 and 2023. Mitchell signed his guilty plea in federal court on May 26th. According to court documents filed on Wednesday, he's agreed to repay the government more than $441,000. The music artist is facing up to 5 years in prison. In Florida, police say a black woman wore disguises to take teaching exams for several educators that happened in Fort Lauderdale. Prosecutors say 37-year-old Cassandra Knowles had been taking exams in person for other people for $1,000 a test over the last 2 years. Well, Knowles runs a tutoring business and had been taking the exams in person for the last 2 years. She allegedly took exams for a teacher at West Glades Middle School in Parkland and a teacher assistant at Parkway Middle School in Fort Lauderdale. Well, she allegedly went to great lengths to disguise herself to look like her customers, changing her hair, her clothes, and makeup to match each person she was testing. In at least one case, Knowles even dressed as a man to take an elementary education exam. Broward Superintendent Howard Hepburn said that the school district will open its own investigation into the accused educators. Knowles is also accused of taking GED and nursing exams on behalf of others. She's charged with an organized scheme to defraud. And a federal jury has ordered the Detroit club and its owner to pay more than $6.25 million to 3 former employees who spoke out about racism. The verdict capped a year-long legal battle. Employees Maya Hooks, Maria Ferrer, and Charles Liss say they were punished for speaking out about the racist treatment of Black guests and workers at the historic private club downtown. The lawsuit claimed the club's owner and former front office manager retaliated against workers who complained about what they believed was race discrimination. Hooks was awarded $7,490 in lost wages, $200,000 for emotional distress, and $350,000 in punitive damages.
All right, folks, we told you last week about these absolutely despicable, racist-ass comments that Megyn Kelly had to say about Haitians after the Supreme Court's temporary protected status ruling that said Trump could send 350,000 Haitians and 6,000 Syrians back. This was the despicable rant of Megyn Kelly.
And look, this has been going on for over a dozen years. Go home. Get out. We know our country's better than yours. That's because we filled it with our work ethic and our culture and our values. You being here only dilutes it for us, those who built it and live it. And half of you people, more than half, you won't assimilate. We don't want you. We don't care if you're offended. Get out. Go home. Go back to fucking Haiti. Sorry. I'm thinking about our friends in Ohio who've been dealing with these TPS Haitians for years now, who are drunk driving all over their towns and killing people. This is the whole cats and dogs thing. Like, they don't want to live like Americans live. And this was supposed to be it was supposed to be temporary help. And it's turned into another backdoor way of allowing someone permanent residency here. And they take advantage of all of our public services.
Just lying, just spewing absolute bullshit. Well, actress Garcelle Bouveau, who is Haitian American, she clapped back against Megyn.
Hi, sak passe. Staying silent in the face of racism and hate is something that I refuse to do. This past week, the lies that have been spewed about the Haitian community, about my community, have been disgusting, deeply hurtful, and dangerous. Now, this is not about politics. It's about humanity. We must condemn this kind of hatred, this kind of racism for anyone. I have always been a proud Haitian immigrant, coming to America, working hard. That's what we do. Coming from gratitude. And I will not sit by and let people talk about my community in any way they want for their own gain. The power we have is the power to vote, to register and vote and stop this madness, this chaos. Haïtiens, c'est pour nous sortir, c'est pour nous voter, c'est pour nous register, c'est pour nous parler avec tout le monde que nous connaît qui ka vote. C'est là nous gain power. I am not going to sit by. It's just not okay to treat people like this. We're supposed to be uplifting each other. From our leaders to our neighbors. This has got to stop. And we have to do something about it. We can't just sit by. Thanks for listening. Register to vote. We have 50-something days. Go out and vote. We need to stop this chaos.
You know, I'm glad that she said what she had to say, Jolanda, because when you have these bigots like Megyn Kelly, significant viewership on YouTube and following as well, they should be challenged, corrected, because what she said were lies. The Republican governor of Ohio made it clear that they want those Haitian workers there because they're doing jobs that white folks in Springfield are not doing, and that city was dying. And so it's just, but all of this is just showing, exposing exactly who the bigots are every time they open their mouth.
But I mean, one of the things that confused the hell out of me was when she said, like, leave those of us who built this. Who? White people? White people ain't built this country, like, for sure. And Trump has just made it okay for them to demonize any country that's black. And they can say anything and people believe it. And so, you know, one of the things that frustrates me even about us is we are surprised when white people white, right? I'm not surprised when they do that. And I think that she did what we all have to do is every single solitary time that they come at us, that anti-Blackism, then we need to call it out, just like Gabrielle or Garcielle did. And look, I don't speak the language. I think it's French that she speaks. But I think that we need
Creole.
Creole. Okay, well, so Creole. And my point is that I think some people don't even know if they know Haitians, right? I didn't know that she was of Haitian descent. And I think that when people who are the target of this anti-Blackism speak out, some people don't know they know us. And so I just think it's very, very important. But they're racist. White folks is open season on anybody Black. It's Haitians now. It's going to be somebody else later. So if we don't check her with Haitians, the next thing you know, they're going to be coming for us.
Listen, I'm always about checking them, Kelly, any time of the day.
Any time of the day. I mean, and pardon my French, no pun intended, but Megyn Kelly has always been a bitch. She always has. And the fact that nobody loves her enough to tell her that side ponytails, should have stayed in the early 2000s, really late 90s. I mean, no one in your camp loves you enough to tell you and guide you out of your stupidity. I'm not taking anything that she has as fact, as golden, as something to be respected or revered in any way. I truly forgot that she existed before this clip because, again, I do my best to ignore ignorance. And she is just the talking head for bitch-made behavior as far as I'm concerned. So, I do my best to keep this, to keep my world, insulated from the caucasity of today. And it is unfortunate that she is the talking head for such things. Again, we know what she said is not fact. We know what she said comes from a place rooted in hatred and, frankly, jealousy, because God forbid her ancestors were able to overcome and triumph over the adversity that Haitian Americans have done. If anything, she perpetuated the vitriol that Haitian Americans had to endure. I would be embarrassed by that too. I would be embarrassed and wear a ponytail like that too if I came from stock like that. So again, I don't listen to bitches. Like I just don't.
Thelma?
Listen, Megyn Kelly should know exactly how I feel about her. And it's not surprising that she don't even know her own history. Like, the history we know about Megyn is she made her millions off putting an end to laying on her back. Something that white women are used to doing, which is how they have attained certain levels of success. That's their identity. That's their DNA. And
well, she was a part of. You had that whole issue at Fox News. There were no. I don't recall any stories saying she slept with Roger Ailes. But
no, that's not what I said. Yeah, that's not what I said. When I said she put an end to laying on her back.
Okay.
So that's just the reality of what we deal with these type of white women in corporate America. They don't have a understanding of what this country really stands for. African Americans built this country.
I looked pretty
on our back outside, but this through our generations of labor, through the sacrifices that our ancestors made, through pain, our resilience, and survival mode. Now, the one thing that she continues to do is try to rob what history says about this country to make it fit her narrative. So when she wakes up in the morning, it's not surprising to me that she doesn't like herself. She lives inside of a person that hates everyone, when the reality is she hates her own self. Because no one that loves themselves and then pours into themselves will talk and speak such nastiness about other human beings and a country taking rights away that we worked hard to maintain and receive. And it doesn't change the fact that she says these things. The only thing I would say to an individual like that is, when it's your time to go and stand next to immigrants, and you have to stand next to them in the eyes of God, let's see what his response is. Will it be job well done? Or your job was never finished?
Oh, it's going to be none of that for Megyn Kelly. And so she deserves to get called out anytime. And again, that was an absolute, just shameful, despicable racial attack that she issued. And so, yeah, she can go to hell. And frankly, Megyn, you can take your ass back to where your people came from, because the people who only can claim this land are Native Americans. So why don't you go to fuck back? Just saying. All right, y'all. Today, Bishop William Barber's repairs of the Breach Poor People's Campaign continue their Moral Mondays here in Washington, D.C. Bishop Barber had been traveling in Germany for the past week, speaking to churches from all across the country. This was Bishop, this was right here, folks, Alan O'Neill Jackson, who was speaking today. Check this out.
Thank you, Dr. Broom, Bishop Barber. I come today, my brothers and sisters, standing with you in the public square, this public pulpit, with a heavy heart. Over and over in our sacred texts, we are reminded, when the stranger sojourns with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. You shall treat the stranger who sojourns with you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were once strangers in the land of Egypt. Cursed is anyone who withholds justice from the foreigner. And the words of Jesus, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. And yet we have this immoral, shameful, unjustifiable decision from the Supreme Court to end the temporary protective status for more than 1 million of our Haitian and Syrian brothers and sisters who have fled war and disaster and now told they must be on the next plane back. With this immoral, shameful, and unjustifiable decision, asylum seekers can now be turned away at the door, sending the most vulnerable back toward the danger they ran from. This is an immoral, shameful, unjustifiable decision, egged on and plotted and celebrated by this administration. And so I come today to this public square, this public pulpit, with a heavy heart. I stood a few years ago with Bishop Barber and others in Springfield, Ohio, with the Haitian community, when they had been dehumanized and demonized and otherized and accused of eating dogs and cats by the current occupant in the White House. But we went to Springfield, Ohio, and community leader after community leader, pastor after pastor, neighbor after neighbor stood up and said, "That's a lie. That's a bold-faced, bald-faced lie. These people have not hurt us or harmed us. They have helped us and given us hope. They are our neighbors. We had a city in decline, a city losing population, a dying community before they showed up. Haitians now make up 25% of the population in Springfield, Ohio. At least 10 businesses opened by Haitian immigrants have made significant contributions to the local community. 8,000 new jobs recently created. Data shows that TPS holders contribute over $29 billion to the American economy, and they pay almost $8 billion in federal payroll, state and local taxes. But now, with this immoral, shameful, unjustifiable decision, families will be separated. Local economies will take a hit. People will be forced back to countries in the grip of violence, instability, and humanitarian collapse. Shameful, shameful, shameful. The human cost will be felt all across this nation. These people are not hurting us. They are helping us. They are saving us. They are enlarging our community. They are our neighbors. They are our sisters and brothers. Yes, here we are with this immoral, shameful, unjustifiable decision, and our hearts are heavy. But we've come to this place with new resolve, with moral outrage, with righteous indignation, with a new determination, with made-up minds. The moral arc of the universe is long, and it bends towards justice. Might not happen with this Supreme Court or this Congress or this administration, but we know that someday, in the end, right will win. Truth crushed to earth will rise again. The wicked will cease from troubling, and the weary will be at rest. Weeping endures for night, but joy comes in the morning. And so if you have a hard way, walk it with courage. If you got a mean problem, work with it until you solve it. If they try to restrict our right to vote, we're going to just vote anyhow. If they rule against us, we're going to keep on working. If they try to silence us, we're going to keep on speaking. If you got a battle, fight it. If they step on us, bounce back. If they put us up against the ropes, come back swinging. And if they kill us, well, we're just going to let our efforts live on anyhow. An immoral, shameful, unjustifiable decision. But we will not be silent anymore.
Again, folks, that was Moral Mondays taking place in front of Lafayette Park at 16th Street here in Washington, D.C. We're going to close the show out. Some sad news over the weekend. We got word that the longtime wife of Nation of Islam leader, Minister Louis Farrakhan, passed away. Khadija Farrakhan. This was the statement that was released on June 27th. The statement said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, with deep sadness, yet with profound gratitude to Allah, informs you that his beloved wife of 72 years, the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadija, has returned to Allah. May Allah be pleased. We thank Allah for the precious life of a loving wife, mother, a faithful, devoted follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Mother Khadija will forever be cherished and remembered. May Allah give his unequaled comfort to the family as we mourn this tremendous loss, and lift the family in our prayers and thoughts. Allah, there is no God but He. He gives life, unto Him is our eventual return. Funeral services will be sent as soon as available. This was from Student Minister Ismail Muhammad on behalf of the Shura Executive Council. Today, the Nation of Islam released the funeral services for Mother Khadija Muhammad, and she'll be lying in state Wednesday and Thursday at Mosque Mariam at the National Center, 7351 South Stony Island Avenue, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The Janaza service will be Friday, July 3rd at 11 a.m., and the interment will follow at Oakwood Cemetery and on East 67th Street. And so, again, the passing of Mother Khadija Farrakhan, wife of Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. And our certainly condolences go out to Minister Farrakhan, his children, and all the members of the Nation of Islam. Folks, that is it for us. Let me thank Jolanda. Let me thank Thelma and Kelly. And y'all also, by the way, y'all know I've already told Jolanda, take off that furry ass. That shit drives me crazy, y'all. Y'all need to understand, it drives me crazy when I see these damn content creators, influencers doing videos. Just let me explain something to y'all, okay? Jolanda, go ahead, lean in.
Why you calling me out like that?
Let me explain something to y'all. Everybody who's watching, I want y'all to understand, okay? Jolanda, take that little furry thing off, okay? No, I need people to understand. Y'all, that little furry thing that you're seeing, that gray and black, no, I want you to hold up to your camera. I need people at home to see what I'm talking about. Y'all, that thing is called a windscreen. And so you're supposed to hold the microphone up so she has the DJI microphone. No. Take it off. People need to see the little microphone. You can't see it. Little black thing, that's a DJI microphone. The windscreen comes off, okay? So here's the deal, okay? That little windscreen, that's for when you're outside and it's windy. Jolanda ass is sitting inside. The only wind is coming out her mouth. Ain't no wind inside. Do y'all, I'm telling you, it drives my ass crazy when I see these people on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and fan base. And I'm like, it's a goddamn windscreen. Your ass indoors.
Lesson learned.
AC or something, bro. You don't know her environment.
I know it ain't windy.
Listen, what if she has a fan on? What if she's trying to,
If she had a fan on, Kelly, we would have heard a loud ass fan and audio would have said, turn the fan on.
No, we wouldn't, because you had the windscreen. Now, see?
Kelly, let me explain something to you. Hold up.
Black women support
No. I ain't believing no black woman. I ain't believing no black woman who don't know shit about TV. Okay? So stay in your damn lane. Your ass with the law school. Hold up. Your ass been a lawyer don't mean you know TV. Okay? Let's be real clear.
I bought the thing you texted me. This is what I use. I bought it. I will have it tomorrow.
Y'all done?
She can only do so much.
Before I was a lawyer, I studied broadcast. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, baby. First of all, Kelly, when you studied broadcast, DJI did not exist.
Oh my God.
And I know it now.
You know it now. Did you even know that was a windscreen?
Yes.
No, you didn't. You thought that was a little gray furry animal. Don't even front. That's what you thought. Listen, I'm just trying to tell y'all. So y'all, I sent Jolanda a text. I didn't understand. The DJI microphone that she has, y'all, has a hole. That hole is for a lavalier microphone. And you can get a lavalier microphone for ceremonic is $15. And you can plug that. Otherwise, if you clip it on, you got a big black ass block. And see, I don't even like that big old block. So I have in my bag. Hold on. See, just for y'all who think
Roland, this says arriving tomorrow.
Yes, praise the Lord.
No, but here's the thing. I know about DJI.
I don't see y'all. Let me tell y'all something.
His advice. You won. Shouldn't you be quiet?
See,
you won, Roland.
No. This is for the benefit of those also watching. Okay. So this ain't just your ass. So I just want y'all to understand. See, I have right here. I keep DJI microphone right here, and then in fact, Listen, I have a white shirt on, so if I need to do an interview and record, boom, I use my white DJI microphone. But see, I'm not a particular fan of this. Yeah, see, Jolanda like, ooh, I didn't know they had white. I saw your face. See, that's why y'all need to pump y'all brakes.
So petty.
That's why y'all need to pump y'all brakes and let this master class teach y'all something. And so, yes, Jolanda, you wear a whole bunch of white, so they actually make a white a white DJI microphone. And so that way, and then, Yolanda, I will send you the link. Ceremonic Yolanda also makes a white lavalier. So they have a white lavalier and a black lavalier right here. Boom, you all good. And so that's how this works. And yes, this little windscreen is right here. Y'all see, I ain't even opened the damn packet because I don't wear the shit indoors. I'm good.
Do you feel better?
Yeah, I saw he
That was,
giving
you know
it
what,
back up
teachable
that phone
moments,
earlier.
Roland.
It was on your chest. It was stuck up in there. Are you feeling better
Yes, because
now?
I can't stand seeing that damn furry-ass windscreen when people are talking indoors.
But why did you text me that, Roland?
What?
That's not what you texted me.
Yes, I did.
You didn't text me, take that fuzzy thing off. You did not.
No, because the problem is this here, okay? Then you would have had this big old black block sitting in the middle, and then now what I could have told you, because your voice projects, that you have a little magnet on the back of your microphone. And so, as opposed to having that black block here, you can see you can actually lower it utilizing your magnet, and then it wouldn't even be seen, and you still could be heard.
Oh, so thank you. I need to know that. You know, everybody ain't social media-ly savvy. I just made that up.
You ain't know this little bitty square thing is a magnet on the back of your microphone?
Yes, I do, but it didn't. Never mind, Roland. I'm not gonna have you continue to blame me.
So just like up
TV,
just like
it's
up
on your
here,
network.
like up here, if you don't want to clip it on, you could just use the magnet and it'll actually stay on because it has the magnet. See right there, just see.
I'm so glad he taught us something today.
See, it's amazing what happens when you read that little.
Nothing. I knew all of this.
It's amazing what happens when you read that manual they send you with certain products. Then you know how to use those things. But Kelly wants to be the furry damn TV queen, and then she wants if there's a fan on. Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Listen, I give grace. I give grace.
I don't
like.
I don't.
You know what? I can take it. I can take Roland.
Let me explain something to you. I don't give grace. I'm not the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's His job. And as German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer said, some of y'all got too much cheap grace. So I just choose to be King Petty. All right.
King Petty.
Yes, King Petty. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So the next time,
And hold up, this is exactly the kind of stuff that the white Democrats don't understand is black cultural stuff.
And in fact, if y'all really think I don't pay attention, please pull the video up when Yolanda was speaking. Many of y'all probably didn't notice. Yolanda wanted to make sure that her team captured her damn audio because I saw your ass with that big old microphone clipped on. See, you think I don't pay attention? Do you not see?
He didn't pull the clip.
Am I lying? Did you have that big ass microphone on?
No, I have learned that when you have on a mic, it has better sound quality. So yes.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. Because probably what happened was.
We needed to hear that. We needed to hear that.
No, I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. What happened was Yolanda probably had one of her staffers sitting there recording, and so versus having the sound system speaker, and trust me, I told John Hope Bryant the exact same thing. I told Ben Crump the same thing. I said, stop posting them goddamn videos. We got badass audio. I said, get your ass a DJI mic, put it on the damn podium. I'm just letting y'all know I did. I said, put it on the podium or wear it so we can have some quality audio. Because in the TV business, I
learned something with that too. Okay.
In the TV business, the two most important things your ass better have: quality audio and quality lighting. That's when I see an independent movie, I can always tell when they didn't have much money. When the audio and the lighting is bad. I'm just saying.
And I bought all these things because Roland did tell me to buy them. This is true.
I was like,
but he literally did tell me where to put stuff. He didn't tell me I could sit it on a desk. Okay, he did not. So that's on you, Roland. Like, he ain't tell me none of that.
Because I would have thought you would have read the manual. Okay, we are done with this DJI microphone video masterclass. So yes, let me thank Furry Kelly Bethea. Let me thank Thelma, and then let me thank Yolanda Furry Microphone Jones. We appreciate it. Thank you so very much, folks. That's it for us. Please support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. If you want to contribute to the show via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. That, of course, is also for credit cards, and so you want to utilize that. Checks and money order. I'm going to go to the mailbox tomorrow, so y'all calm down. And so I told y'all, when y'all send them checks and money order, listen, you can't be thinking it's going to get deposited, in 2 or 3 days, okay? Because we got to go to the mailbox. We got to get them. We got to open each envelope. I got to pull it out, separate the notes that y'all give from the check and the money order and the envelope. I got to sign the back of it, take a picture, deposit it. Not all money orders can be deposited that way. Then I got to sit here and actually type up the names of the donors, put it on the list. There's a process here. Give a brother some time. And yes, I'm the one who personally does that because I don't trust nobody else with y'all money. Checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. Why are we showing that right now? I'm still on the money. Can y'all slow down? Can you go back to the previous graphic? Thank you, okay? Y'all messing the money up, okay? Interns, that's how y'all gonna get paid. I will gladly stop payment on y'all checks, okay? All right, again, checks and money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196. Y'all lucky I didn't name the intern who did it. See, I'll get real petty. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey, y'all who on YouTube, hit the damn like button. Y'all been bullshitting all day. We should easily get 1,000 likes. Y'all playing around. Let's hurry up and get it done before I leave. Download the Black Star Network app. We're closing in on 200,000 downloads. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One. We dropped the Xbox One because wasn't nobody watching over there. Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, hats and T-shirts, all our great merchandise. And in fact, hold on, let me do this right here. Y'all, we were in, where was I just at? Oh, I was in Ohio. Was I in Ohio doing this? Hold on one second, y'all. I told you I was gonna do this here. So we were, I spoke to the preachers on Saturday. And of course, I ran into some folk who were there, who were rocking the Roland Martin Unfiltered shirts. And so I appreciate it. Also, when I was in Ohio for the State of Black America, I saw some of y'all there as well, rocking the Roland Martin Unfiltered shirts. I appreciate that. It's always good to see y'all when y'all wearing y'all gear. I told y'all, if you are rocking our gear, post it on social media, tag me, and I will personally show you on the show. So I am honoring my word. Give me 1 second. I'm about to, let me stop this screen mirror. Here you go. All right, so let me send it right now. So what I'm doing is I want to show, saw this. This is a sister I ran into this sister on Saturday. Ran into her. My bad, I did not get her name. I should have gotten her name. But first, when I spoke in Ohio, on last Monday, had a great time there with Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. We had a great time. I ran into this brother here. Let me see, hold on 1 second, I'm almost there. We got it. All right, I want to shout out this brother right here. I didn't reverse it. I shot this with my other phone. And so he was rocking our Don't Blame Me, Voted for the Black Woman shirt. And then on Saturday, ran into this sister right here. She was rocking her shirt as well. So I appreciate both of them rocking our gear. Don't forget, again, if you want to get your Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, Black Star Network swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. Then, of course, all these products you see over here, these are all Black-owned products, y'all. All these products right here as I'm walking over. Everything that you see right here, and we got chips and animal treats. We got hair care products, car wash solutions. We got sauces. We got Black-owned toilet paper and tissue here. We got backpacks. We got the nursing gear they wear, stuffed animals. We've got watches, jewelry, skincare, hair care, all of these, everything that you see right here. These, of course, these bags right here, allow you the toiletry bags right here, all of this stuff. We got, we got crossword puzzles. We got all this good stuff. All these black-owned companies are available at shopblackstarnetwork.com. And remember, when you support these products, you also are supporting this show as well. We got these candles that smell like your favorite desserts. We got these bourbon, it's called Pieces of Love. These bourbon-infused pecans right here. I mean, we got these candles right here as well. And so, man, we got some great stuff. So I want y'all to go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. When you buy products, any of these products, you're supporting them, you're supporting us as well. So I appreciate it. Shout out Clark Atlanta University. I'm rocking y'all polo today on the show. I certainly appreciate it. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.